Exile and redemption. Harmony between religion and the law of development, or blind faith. And among those nations you will have no repose, and there will be no resting place for your feet. And that which comes to your mind will not be at all, in that you say, we will be as the nations, as the families of the lands. The Creator will evidently show us that Israel cannot exist in exile, and will find no rest, as the rest of the nations that mingled among the nations and found rest, and assimilated in them until no trace was left of them. Not so is the house of Israel. This nation will find no rest among the nations until it realizes the verse, and from there you will seek the Lord your God. And you will find him, for you will demand him with all your heart and all your soul. This can be examined by studying Providence and the verse that states about us that Torah is true and all its words are true. And woe to us as long as we doubt its truthfulness. And we say about all the rebuke that is happening to us that it is chance and blind faith. This has but one cure: to bring the troubles back on us to such an extent that we will see that they are not coincidental, but steadfast providence intended for us in the Holy Torah. We should clarify this matter by the law of development itself. The nature of the steadfast guidance that we have attained through the Holy Torah is in the path of Torah in providence, a far more rapid development than the other nations has come to us. And because the members of the nation developed so, there was always the necessity to go forward and be extremely meticulous with all the commandments, mitzvot, of the Torah, because they would not do so, but wish to include their narrow selfishness, meaning the lo lishma, not for her sake. This developed the ruin of the first temple, since they wish to extol wealth and power above justice, as do other nations. But because the Torah prohibits this, they denied the Torah and the prophecy and adopted the manners of the neighbors, so they could enjoy life as much as the selfishness demanded of them. Because they did so, the powers of the nation disintegrated. Some followed the selfish kings and officers, and some followed the prophets. And that separation continued until the ruin. In the second temple, it was even more noticeable, since the beginning of the separation was publicly displayed there by unvirtuous disciples headed by Tzadok and Baitos. Their mutiny against our sages revolved primarily around the obligation of Lishma, for her sake. As our sages said, "Wise men, be careful with your words." Because they did not want to retire from selfishness, they created communities of this deplorable kind and became a great sect called Tzdukim, who were the rich and the officers pursuing selfish desires, unlike the path of Torah. They fought against the Prushim, and they are the ones who brought the Roman kingdom's rule over Israel. They are the ones who would not make peace with the imperious, as our sages advised according to the Torah, until the house was ruined and the glory of Israel was exiled.
I don't see any questions. What is he trying to say? He wants to emphasize that our entire war should be in explaining to ourselves and to everyone what is the obligation of Lishma. Obligation of Lishma means in order to bestow above our desire, when we wish to only do for the benefit of the other, outside of ourselves. Restriction, screen, and return everything to everyone. And if we connect between ourselves in this way, then certainly the Creator will dwell among us, and our desires, these desires that we build from the restriction, screen, and reflected light, this structure will be called a house of holy, that will be filled with the light of the Creator, the presence of the Creator, and we will come to establishing, erecting the house of holiness, the third temple. After 2 destructions, we will rise to a state where we're all connected, and this mutual force of bestowal dwells among us. The permanent state, the whole state, the global state that exists and includes in it all the worlds.